Hi all, just a Wednesday update really. I've bought myself a book for uniforms of the Napoleonic Wars because I was kind of finding myself struggling for what colours things should be, what uniforms people are in, that kind of thing. Especially when it came to the colonels and some of the bespoke units. So, for example, here's one of the colonels that I've almost finished. But it's little details like the plumes and the braiding and that kind of stuff. I wasn't quite sure. So we get this to focus. I wasn't quite sure what they actually should look like. So I thought I'll get myself a book, and it'll tell me all about it. So this is a really neat book. Actually, it covers various different countries' armies, but mainly what I've been looking at so far is the British stuff, because I haven't actually got anything other than British troops. So if I just open this up a little bit. So as you probably know, I've got some cavalry, the household life guards cavalry. So right here it tells me all about the life guards. So I was going to do I wasn't quite sure what colour to do the trousers for the guys, but it tells me here that they had red tunics, dark blue facings, gold buttons and lacing pairs and white breeches. So that's quite neat. There's a picture of one of the generals with the detail going up there. So when I was doing General Hill, that was quite a nice little bit of detail that I wouldn't have ordinarily seen or got. We've got a drummer down the end there. But yeah, it's a really nice book actually. There's another general. Sorry about the light shining on the page there. Yeah, so there's another general. It's a nice book to read, and it gives you sort of histories as well. So the structure of the British Army, how it's all laid out, that kind of stuff. Now I've back to the painting sort of side. I've primed up another complete regiment of foot. So they're all primed, ready to go. I had a bit of a brainwave. Unfortunately, halfway or most of the way through gluing these together, I was gluing the backpacks on the guys. So let me find one. No, I won't find one now, you see. Yep, here we go. I was gluing the backpacks on the guys and priming them up. And then struggling to paint just down behind there and the collar detail and that kind of thing. And I was getting either red paint everywhere or yellow paint or grey paint everywhere. So I thought, why don't I just base up the backpacks separately and prime them, paint them off the model, and then when it's all finished, I can just glue them onto the back, and that won't impede me painting the backs or just around the collars, etc. And it will do like a much neater job. So unfortunately not all of them are like this, but 8 of them are. So that's a little bit of a brainwave there. So I'll certainly be doing the next lot like this. So I decided I was looking for then what regiment to make these guys up as. So consulting the book, it has rather handily that's the officers, rather handily a list of the regiments here, what colours the facing should be, what colours the officers' lace should be. So I just run down the list, find what I want to do. So I was going to do the 27th Enniskillen. So I know I need pale buff and the officers' lace is all silver. So it's a really nice book. Really nice indeed, and it just goes on and on for all the different regiments, with all the different facing colours and officers' information there. So that's a really cool book. So that's that one. I also bought this book because I was going to do, or I am still going to do, the cavalry. So the previous book told me that the trousers were supposed to be, or the breeches were supposed to be white, but other than that, I didn't really know much about them. So according to this book, the lifeguards had black horses, but the trumpeter had a grey horse. So again, something I didn't know. I would have just painted all the horses sort of various shades of brown, and that would have looked very odd, I think. So again, well worth getting. This book I think was published in 1984, I think, something like that. But it's really interesting. Again, it goes into the history of the heavy cavalry, the different regiments and troops and that kind of thing, all the equipment they had with them, and there's some really nice sort of colour drawings in here. I'll just move back a bit. Here we go. Nice colour drawings of the cavalry guys, troopers, to give you an idea of what they look like. So I think that's mostly officers there. Here we go. So I think that's one of the lifeguards. So again, very, very interesting book, especially when it comes to details like the headdress, that kind of thing, you know, because again, I would have assumed that it was all sort of brass, but apparently not. So again, well worth getting that book. So I've started to read that. I'll have a good read through that one. Now, you may also be aware that I've done some Marines, but there's only two sort of companies of Marines in the command base. So making 3 40 by 40 bases. So I wanted to sort of flesh that out a little bit. So I've purchased these from War Miniatures, something like that. I can't remember. I'll see if I can find that out. So these are a Royal Navy crew or landing party or some boarding party, something like that. So I thought these would make a nice base of 4 figures, just in sort of a sort of disordered sort of poses, just kind of hanging around, shouting, whereas the Marines were all nicely in line. These guys would just be kind of facing all sort of different directions, yelling and shouting and waving their sabres and swords in the air, that kind of thing. So I was going to do 4 of those on one base. So probably the guys with the pistols. So there's a couple of guys, I think, with pistols here, and a couple of guys with, there's a guy with an axe, a couple of guys with sabres, something like that. And then the other 4 would go on to an artillery base, because I've ordered a ship's cannon. So I thought to provide some sort of Royal Naval artillery support, that 4 guys would go like with as a kind of gun crew, but not in the process of firing it, but in the process of sort of standing near it, shouting again, with waving the swords around. Again, kind of disorganised rabble sort of affair, to give the impression that you know, the Marines have it's not just Marines, it's basically a ship's company. Well, not the entire company, of course, just a sort of landing party sort of company that's there supporting the Marines. So I'll get these based and primed. They're really nice quality sort of casts as well. Not too much flash on them. So I'll get these based up and primed, and when I get a little bit bored doing these guys, because this is just very, very repetitive sort of work, I'll get going on these as well, and especially the ship's cannon, and I'll base that up as a sort of artillery piece, as a little bit of something different, I think, rather than just maybe having horse artillery or foot artillery. We've got a sort of cannon off of a ship that they've managed to drag up somewhere and been preparing to fire. Anyway, that's about it for me for the Wednesday update. As you can see, I've got plenty to get on with. I've got a couple of the ADCs over there in the process of being painted too. So that'll keep me busy for quite a while. I probably won't start these until the weekend. Hopefully I'll get them done in maybe a week, 2 weeks. And as I say, these will be on the go as well when I get a little bit bored. And I'll start the cavalry in September. Anyway, that's it from me for now. Talk to you on Sunday even. Bye for now.